Hey guys, what is going on? I hope you all are doing well today. My name is Elliot. I want to welcome you back to another episode of The Fragrance Well. Today's topic is going to be date night scents. I've got a wide range of them here. I've got your pretty much more well-known date night fragrances that pretty much work for a casual date up to a more elegant date, more formal date, and the ones that, are kind of that high level date, one you would probably wear to a nicer restaurant and you wouldn't necessarily wear in a more casual dating situation. We're going to talk about them right now. I believe I've got 10 of them. Yep, 10 date night fragrances we're going to talk about right now. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started here. This list is in no particular order. I'm just gonna kind of present them as I see fit. This is going to be coming from the house of Dolce & Gabbana. This is the One Eau de Parfum. I got the big jumbo bottle here. This thing is a brick. Yep, the One Eau de Parfum, I would say definitely a solid example of the quintessential designer date night fragrance. This thing, first time I smelled it, I was blown away by it. It is an absolutely great date night fragrance. It's gonna feature notes of grapefruit, basil, coriander, orange blossom, cardamom, ginger, amber, tobacco, and cedar. A little bit of freshness off the top, slight orange tinge to it, but you're gonna notice some spiciness and some sweetness. Cardamom is the name of the game with this one. A very cardamom forward scent, a great dry spice that really works well for this style of fragrance. This fragrance is heralded in the community as one of the best date night scents ever, really, not just at the designer level. Also features a nice note of tobacco. It's just a really well done scent. Biggest gripe on it is the performance is not that great, but to be honest, if you think about what you would need for your typical date night, you're maybe gonna spend 4 or 5 hours out. Cap almost fell off. I get about, honestly, 6 to 7 hours out of this max. It's more like 6 hours before it really becomes a skin scent. But that's all you really need for your typical date night. So it works really well. It's very alluring. It doesn't project really far, but it fills your space up just enough to the person smelling it wants to come in a little closer and get more of it. That's a great example of a date night fragrance. The One Eau de Parfum, great designer date night fragrance, and just one of the best date night fragrances ever created, really. All right, next one on the list, let's get to one that's a little bit more elegant, but still can be worn in a casual dating situation, coming from the house of Tom Ford. This is Tom Ford Noir Extreme. This is just the Eau de Parfum. The newer Parfum version I do think is excellent as well. I just don't have a bottle of it yet, but I do plan to pick that one up, but I still love the original EDP. Just such a well done scent. It's just a knockout from Tom Ford in my opinion. Featured notes are cardamom, mandarin orange, nutmeg, neroli, saffron, kulfi, mastic, orange blossom, rose, jasmine, vanilla amber, and sandalwood. This one is quite sweet and a little bit gourmandy. It features that note of kulfi, which I believe is like an Indian style dessert if I'm not mistaken. I probably should have looked it up before I started this video, but I do know it's based off of a type of dessert that features pistachio if I'm not mistaken. Very nice spice to it, also features the notes of cardamom, and it's very smooth and creamy on the dry down. It's just a really good scent. Almost unisex even though it's marketed towards men in the signature line, but great fragrance, great for a date night out. Can't go wrong with this one as far as I'm concerned. Projection is okay. Longevity is also okay. People talk about newer formulations. I'm not going to get into that argument, but at the end of the day, this one will definitely get the job done. Great date night fragrance, smells amazing. Still a great pickup to this day, still going strong for this day, and that is not by mistake. Noir Extreme from Tom Ford. Also try the newer Parfum version. It's a little bit richer, a little bit less going on with it, but more focused in on what makes this a rich fragrance. All right, since we're talking about Tom Ford, might as well get the other Tom Ford out of the way. This is going to be Oud Wood. My tiny little puny 30 ml bottle, but hey, the juice is the same. I need to get a bigger bottle of this. Oud Wood. Fragrance I got actually before I started collecting, but was the first higher quality fragrance, if you will, that I had ever smelled in my life, and I just had to go ahead and grab a bottle of it at full retail. Didn't know about discounters yet. But great date night fragrance. Really good for a lot of other occasions, especially evening wear occasions. But yeah, this one definitely gets the job done for a date night. Oud Wood features cardamom, oud, sandalwood, rosewood, spices, Sichuan pepper, and amber. In my opinion, Oud Wood is the fragrance you probably should try out if you kind of want to experience oud in a way that is not overly animalic, too forward. Oud is a note, particularly here in the States. I'm talking about people in the States that's not something that's really heralded here. It's definitely more of a Middle Eastern thing. They've had oud forever. They wear it heavily. It's much more common there. So a good fragrance like this is an introductory fragrance into what oud can be. I smelled it and I fell in love with it right away, and I have smelled much heavier oud since then, and I love the note of oud, and it is all because this one introduced me to it. But all that being said, you also notice cardamom is in this one as well, so you have a little bit of spiciness, some woodiness, slightly oriental. Great date night fragrance from the house of Tom Ford, and Oud Wood does not disappoint in that category. Okay, moving on. Since we're talking about oud, let's get to one where the oud is a little bit more forward, but there's also some floral notes as well. So it's not a primarily oud fragrance. I consider this more of a floral fragrance with oud as a supporting note, but a strong one nevertheless. From Maison Francis Kurkdjian, this is Oud Satin Mood, the Extrait de Parfum. Very rich, very sweet, lots of rose, and just super high quality and great for night out and date night occasions. Featured notes in this are Turkish damask rose, rose absolute, Laotian oud, vanilla, amber, cinnamon, geranium, and violet. So like I said with this one, it's very rose heavy, but also you get the oud in here. You're gonna notice the oud is here. Very floral, very sweet, very strong, very rich. For a date night in particular, you don't need a whole lot of sprays of this, maybe just 2, kind of depending on where you're going. If it's like a more outdoor kind of venue, maybe an extra one, and if you're, kind of in wide open spaces. But I would say for a date night, you want to go easy on the trigger with this, because ideally when you're on a date, you're trying to smell good for the person you're on a date with, not the entire room. So back it off when you're going on a date night with a very strong fragrance like this. But this thing is just very elegant. This one would work in a more elegant date night setting, date where you're going to somewhere maybe a little bit more expensive, a little more exclusive, nicer dinner, you dress up a little bit better. So that's what this one I would say works a little bit better for. Not necessarily the first choice I would go for if it's a more casual dating situation. That being said, this fragrance is absolutely stunning. One of the best ones from Maison Francis Kurkdjian in my opinion. Oud Satin Mood. Extrait, the EDP, will work as well. Great date night fragrance from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. All right, let's bring the focus back to cardamom for a second. Coming from the house of Yves Saint Laurent, this is La Nuit de l'Homme, Bleu Electrique. This fragrance is just absolutely stunning. A great, modern, slightly blue fragrance take on the original La Nuit de l'Homme, DNA. That being said, I do think the original La Nuit de l'Homme would make this list as well, because I do know that this is very difficult to get here in the States. Featured notes are cardamom, ginger, bergamot, French lavender, geranium, cedarwood, and vetiver. The original La Nuit de l'Homme probably played the biggest role in kind of putting cardamom at the forefront of these style of fragrances that are really just great for date night scenarios. And like I said, this one adds I don't know if ginger was in the original La Nuit de l'Homme, but the ginger in here gives it a little bit more of a fresher pop and just kind of takes it in more of a slightly blue direction, but still staying true to that cardamom that is so popular in the La Nuit de l'Homme line. Amazing date night fragrance. Will definitely get the compliments you want, will definitely get the results you want from your fragrance on a date night out. Great for casual date night scenarios as well as more elegant ones. So this one kind of runs the gambit, if you will. If you can't get your hands on the Bleu Electrique, I don't think that's a big deal. I think the original La Nuit de l'Homme, as well as some of the other better done flankers, will definitely get the job done as well. So let's just say La Nuit de l'Homme in general is going to be perfect for your date night needs. Next up on the list, let's get some iris into this conversation. Granted, iris is not for everybody, but those of us who like it, I think they work great for date nights, and this is going to be from the house of Valentino. This is Valentino Uomo Intense. Valentino Uomo Intense, the Valentino take on the Dior Homme Intense DNA, or even the Dior Homme Original DNA with the Valentino Uomo. This one though kind of sits itself apart with having vanilla touches as well as a little bit of leather in it. Featured notes are clary sage, mandarin orange, iris, tonka bean, vanilla, and black leather. This one I think falls into a little bit more of an elegant date night category. It could work in casual situations, but I think it would shine if you're going somewhere that's a little bit upper class, if you will. Absolutely love the smell of this. It's not discontinued as far as I know, but it is very hard to find. I think it's just a matter of they're either have slowed down production of it or they're just behind on production of it. So I'm hoping they're not canning it. You can still find the original Uomo very easily. That's in most department stores as well as available on discounters. All that being said, I think this is a great date night fragrance. Just sets you apart a little bit from the typical cardamom heavy fragrances. Iris fragrances might not necessarily be the easiest thing to pull off on a date night, but I don't think anybody would deny that you smell elegant and well put together if you choose to go the Iris route. Once again, this is Valentino Uomo Intense. Great offering from the House of Valentino, and it's a shame they're not going in this direction anymore, but it's good we still can get these while we can. Keeping it in that Iris realm, but a different take on it altogether. This is going to be coming from the House of Givenchy. This is Gentleman Reserve Privee. I think the best designer release of last year, considering the fact that in my opinion, most of the designer releases from last year were quite underwhelming. This one, you're gonna get that iris, but you're also gonna get some slight gourmand touches as well as a little bit of booziness and some spice. Featured notes are Scotch, Whiskey Absolute, Bergamot, Chestnut, Iris, Chinese Iris, Benzoin Siam, Indonesian Patchouli, Virginia Cedar, and Haitian Vetiver. This one is probably my favorite flanker from the Givenchy Gentleman line outside of the Eau de Parfum release. I love the boozy note in this. I like that kind of warm chestnut you get in this, and a little bit of spice and nice creamy iris. The iris is still very much prevalent in this, but it takes a little bit of a back seat to those slight gourmand edges. So, you know, if you don't want to be too forward with the iris, this would be a good way to go, while also adding a little bit of warm spice to make it a little bit more alluring. Great night out fragrance in general, but also obviously great for date night as well. If you're gonna wear it outside, probably better in kind of fall to maybe spring weather. Don't wear it when it's too hot out. But this one I think is a little bit more of a casual dating situation. You can wear it to more elegant, but I think this one shines a little bit more in the casual realm, as it is a little bit more playful, particularly with those boozy notes in it. Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privee could be the last iris forward Givenchy Gentleman fragrance, so I guess we better enjoy it while we can. All right, speaking of gourmand touches, why don't we talk about one that is 100% gourmand, coming from the house of by Kilian. Angel Share. Oh, I didn't line the bottle up right. Love this bottle, by the way. Yep, Angel Share, an amazing fragrance. And after pulling the cap off maybe 2 times, it just falls right off, so I won't be grabbing it from the cap anymore. This one features cinnamon, cognac, praline, tonka bean, hazelnut, vanilla, oak wood, and sandalwood. This one is very sweet, very gourmand, a little bit of booziness to it. The nuttiness in here, it smells like it would just be a sweet candied nut. Kind of like a cinnamon covered pecan or something like that. The praline is very prevalent in this. Very heavy on the cinnamon and the warm spices. It smells absolutely delicious. I think this is one of the best gourmand fragrances to ever come out. I've heard it's not really an original style fragrance, but it's just so well done that I think, you know, there's a reason it's so popular right now. All that being said, a great date night fragrance because you're gonna smell so freaking delicious, your date is just gonna wanna eat you up. With all that sweetness and all of that warm spice, the scent is just very alluring. I'm gonna smell it again, if you don't mind, because it just smells so good. Guys, just trust me on this. Great date night fragrance. Get your nose on it if you haven't. Get a sample of it. It is a great offering from the House of by Kilian. I know there's a lot of clones out there. If this is a little too expensive for you, fine, go for those. Just the style of DNA is one that's definitely worth having in your collection and in your date night arsenal. Keeping it in that warm spice realm, particularly the cinnamon, and we're adding a little bit of tobacco with this one from Parfums de Marly. This is Herod. Parfums de Marly's Herod. I absolutely love this scent. Also, you got a little bit of vanilla in this one as well. This scent just smells sexy at the end of the day. It's a great, sexy tobacco fragrance and really fits into a great date night scenario. Herod features cinnamon, pepperwood, tobacco, frankincense, osmanthus, cistus, vanilla, cedarwood, musk, cypriol, patchouli, and vetiver. I think this was the first breakout hit for this house, and for good reason. Great Yeah, smells amazing. Great date night fragrance, very warm and inviting. The tobacco in here is not overly smoky. It's a nice, sweet vanillic tobacco with a lot of spice on the top. Very cinnamon forward in the front. If you don't like cinnamon, you're not gonna like the opening of this one because it's very cinnamon forward in the opening, but it's balanced in a way that I think, you know, it just comes off as so good, so delicious, and yeah. Great date night fragrance. It'll definitely get the job done. Parfums de Marly's Herod. Check it out if you haven't. Okay, and we're on to the last one here. This one I think is going to be probably the most challenging on this list, only because it is probably the most unisex. Coming from the house of Bond No. 9. This is NoMad. Bond No. 9's NoMad. Really love the bottle on this. What you're gonna get from this one is oud and rose, but it's gonna have a very fruity take on it, which is really what lends to that more unisex style. This one features black currant, quince, pear, rose, oud, vanilla, amber, and violet leaf. The pear is very strong in this one. Like I said, this is a very fruity fragrance, but the oud and rose is in there. The oud is actually a little bit more tame in this. It's probably more rose forward than it is oud forward, but overall, this is a very fruity, kind of ambery fragrance. This one to me is definitely going to be a more elegant date night scenario fragrance, a more high class date night fragrance, not really one you would wear in a casual situation. This fragrance is very expensive, so you know, if you can find it at a good discount, you know, it may be worth checking out, but if you're happen to be at a retailer that has Bond No. 9, they're always gonna have this one available. Definitely get a sample of this one first, because like I said, I think people would overly like it, but maybe not necessarily wanna wear it. They might think it's a little too feminine for them. To me, it's kind of straight up and down the middle. It's a unisex fragrance, so check it out first. That being said, I think this is a very elegant date night fragrance. Just something a little bit different from what's offered on this list here to just kind of set you apart if you wanna be a little bit more daring in your date night scenario. Bond No. 9's NoMad. Check it out if you haven't. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today's video. That was 10 date night fragrances. Thank you for watching to the end. Leave some comments down below. Do you agree with this list I made here today? What are some date night fragrances you like to wear? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you for watching today, and I hope to see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Wheel. Have a good one.